Welcome to the Past in Pictures channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Veterans begging in Berlin in 1923 symbolized the crisis driven by hyperinflation after World War I, worsened by the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles, a setting that helped pave the way for authoritarian movements in Germany. In London, England, between 1940 and 1941, firefighters put out fires on streets damaged during the Blitz in World War II. Streams of water hit the rubble as the crew tries to stop new flare-ups. In October 1936 in East London, street tensions broke out between fascist movements and local protesters, a milestone that strengthened resistance to authoritarianism in Europe and influenced British politics before World War II. The devastating flood that hit New York on September 12, 1960, stood out for its impact on city streets and daily life, pushing discussions about the need for investment in urban infrastructure and the prevention of future natural disasters. After World War I, many veterans in the United States, like the one pictured in Corpus Christi in 1938, faced hardship caused by the Great Depression, highlighting the lasting social impact of these historical events in the country. In the 1950s, Hollywood expanded its international reach, and stars like Kirk Douglas at the height of fame in 1953 symbolized the United States' cultural influence after the war, driving cinema as worldwide entertainment. Max Factor's development of the beauty calibrator in 1932 marked a milestone in the history of cosmetics, allowing makeup to be tailored to individual features, transforming beauty standards and influencing the global film industry. In 1890, violence against Native Americans on the Great Plains reached a peak at Wounded Knee, which symbolized the defeat of indigenous resistance and strengthened federal domination, deeply impacting Native cultures in the United States. On the eve of June 6, 1944, General Eisenhower encouraged paratroopers in England before D-Day, a vital World War II moment since the Normandy invasion was essential to weaken the German regime and free Western Europe. During the 1956 Hungarian Revolution, people tore down Soviet control symbols such as the head of a statue tied to Soviet leadership, showing a desire for freedom, and even with retaliation, the episode shaped later democratic struggles in Eastern Europe. As the Cold War intensified, the February 8, 1953 experiment testing a spacesuit and boiling water in a vacuum represented a decisive milestone for the safety of aerospace missions at high altitudes and beyond Earth's atmosphere. Mick Jagger's arrest in 1967 during the peak of police crackdowns in the 1960s symbolized the clash between youth and conservative authorities, expanding debates about freedom and encouraging major cultural change in the West. Volkswagen Beetle production in West Germany in 1945 marked a historic milestone in post-World War II industrial rebuilding, symbolizing Germany's economic recovery and strongly influencing the global auto industry of that period. In 1962, test pilots faced constant risk in the technological race of experimental aviation, and an emergency escape after an in-flight failure reinforced the need to improve safety technology, deeply shaping future industry protocols. In the 1950s, children's reliance on iron lungs due to polio showed the disease's devastating impact, and after the vaccine was introduced, cases fell sharply, marking a notable advance in global public health. During the 1910 Paris flood, the Seine overflowed and inundated neighborhoods and monuments, highlighting the need to improve city planning, which led to new flood protection systems in the French capital. Christmas Day on December 25, 1951 in Blue Earth, Minnesota took place during the peak of post-World War II economic growth in the United States, when suburban life and industrial expansion shaped 20th century American culture. During the Tehran Conference on November 28, 1943, Allied leaders set strategies to defeat the German regime, discussing opening the Western Front, which helped drive the reshaping of the world order after the war. During World War II, on April 17, 1942, residents of North Cheam in Surrey faced the harsh effects of food rationing and turned to horse meat, highlighting the severity of restrictions imposed by the global conflict. During World War II in Great Britain, residents painted stripes on cows to prevent nighttime accidents during blackout conditions imposed by air raids, highlighting the conflict's direct impact on daily life and civilian safety. During World War II, RAF Short Sunderland patrols in the North Atlantic in 1940 were vital in reducing threats at sea, protecting Allied supply lines, and reinforcing the strategic importance of maritime aviation in that period. In the context of World War II, in August 1942, women's involvement in rural life in Fort Kent, Maine, showed how important female participation was in supporting the war effort, essential for supplies and social stability. Near June 2, 1944, Soviets and Americans joined forces at a Russian base, preparing military cargo meant for the German government's forces shortly before D-Day, a gesture that symbolized the Allies' crucial partnership at the decisive turning point of World War II. During the 1910s, driven by needs created by World War I, women began taking jobs once restricted to men, marking a milestone in the fight for equality and paving the way for future gains. The life story of Uval Zaktayev, a survivor of forced transfers to Karaganda in the 1950s, shows the era's harsh policy, while the link between sports and politics shaped lives and careers under the Soviet regime, leaving a deep mark on that generation. IBM's release of the first commercial hard disk drive in 1956 was a turning point in computing history, allowing digital storage of up to 5 megabytes and laying the foundation for efficient, innovative data processing. In July 1969, Buzz Aldrin stepped onto the lunar surface after Neil Armstrong during the Apollo 11 mission, cementing the United States' technological lead and marking a decisive milestone in the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union. Yuri Gagarin's presence with his family in Moscow after his pioneering human spaceflight on April 12, 1961, shows Soviet prestige in the Cold War, highlighting how space achievement became a symbol of international power and technological revolution. The Hindenburg, built in Friedrichshafen in 1935, symbolized the technological boldness of airships, but its fire in May 1937 in New Jersey became a tragic milestone that ended the commercial use of these giants of the air. John F. Kennedy's speech on June 26, 1963, when he said, "Ich bin ein Berliner" in West Berlin, strengthened United States support in the face of the communist blockade and intensified opposition to Soviet influence during the Cold War. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 opened the borders between East and West Germany, driving reunification in 1990 and ending decades of Cold War division, marking a new era for Europe. In the context of May 1945, Denmark's liberation from German control symbolized the end of the German government's occupation, allowing local forces to regain control and begin restoring national sovereignty. During San Francisco's rebuilding after the devastating 1906 earthquake, practices like moving Victorian houses with animal traction in 1908 show residents' effort to preserve heritage and adapt urban space in the face of changes forced by tragedy. In 1916, Arthur Clarence Pillsbury dared to pose at Yosemite's glacier point on a Studebaker 6 just inches from a cliff, showing how advances in documentary photography encouraged bold stunts and challenged the limits of the human relationship with wilderness. During the 1910s, the use of carrier pigeons fitted with cameras for reconnaissance marked a major advance in military spying, serving as an early step toward the development of drones and changing the direction of modern warfare. The Paris catacombs in 1935 symbolize how the city addressed public health problems and overcrowding starting in the 18th century by moving bones from cemeteries underground, a striking fact in Paris's urban memory. In Japan in 1865, Felice Beato's record of a samurai illustrates the end of the Edo period, before the Meiji Restoration in 1868, which dissolved the feudal system and began modernizing reforms that shaped the country's development. As a symbol of freedom, the Statue of Liberty was completed in Paris in 1886 before being shipped to New York, cementing collaboration between France and the United States and reinforcing international democratic ideals in the 19th century. The arrival and assembly of the Statue of Liberty's head in 1885 symbolized the completion of a French gift celebrating the American centennial, establishing it as a global reference for freedom and an inspiration for migrants arriving in New York. The 1940 Thanksgiving Day Parade, marked by a clown balloon in Times Square, helped cement the event as a tradition in the United States, promoting national unity and optimism amid World War II uncertainty in a difficult period. During World War I, campaigns like the 1918 Liberty Bonds were essential for raising money and involving the American public, strengthening the country's role in the conflict and boosting support for the war effort. In 1944, the Brooklyn Navy Yard stood out as a symbol of the United States war effort, as women welders took on essential roles, breaking gender barriers and contributing directly to the Allied victory in World War II. In 1906, London saw the launch of the Electrobus, showing the search for alternatives to fossil fuel transportation and anticipating the role of electric technology in 20th century urban development with lasting impact. When Berlin introduced the electric street sweeper in 1907, it marked a milestone in urban modernization, improving efficiency and public health while showing Europe's commitment to sustainable technology in city life. In 1914, Bowman Dairy Company used horse-drawn wagons to deliver milk in Chicago, showing the urban logistics challenges before motor vehicles became common, a crucial step in city modernization and public health. In 1921, Thomas Edison beside his phonograph represents the consolidation of a key invention for sound recording, a tool that enabled the recording industry and forever changed global cultural experience. In post-war 1948, working with IBM computers represented a major technological revolution, as electronic machines sped up data processing and laid the groundwork for the digital age, changing industries and scientific methods worldwide. A video game championship held in 1980 symbolized a turning point for digital culture because it formalized competition among players and inspired the birth of esports, permanently changing the status of games in the global economy. The release of the film Popeye in 1980 marked a time when comic adaptations for movies reinforced American pop culture, celebrating visual entertainment and driving new takes on classic characters in the decade. Created in the 1960s, the starship USS Enterprise NCC 1701 became a science fiction reference by symbolizing space race optimism, encouraging technological advances and promoting ideas of global cooperation during the Cold War. During the 1930s, Mickey and Minnie Mouse became global icons of animated entertainment, marking the start of the golden age of cartoons and boosting Disney's cultural influence in the 20th century, especially in homes and children's imaginations. During World War I, in places like Oklahoma City in 1917, the exploitation of child labor in railroad yards showed the era's harsh social reality, fueling debates that would lead to fairer labor regulations in the United States. The documentary Pumping Iron, released in 1977, played a key role in spreading bodybuilding internationally, making the athletic lifestyle better known and cementing Arnold Schwarzenegger as a cultural icon and global influence. In 1956, Elvis Presley appears in Memphis beside his Messerschmitt bubble car, marking a time of technological advances and deep cultural change in the United States, driven by youth and the rise of rock and roll. In 1965, Frank Sinatra reached the peak of his career, solidifying his legacy in global pop culture as a symbol of post-war American glamour, while Palm Springs established itself as a retreat for Hollywood celebrities and the era's elite. Sophia Loren's presence at an American military base in 1954 illustrates the growing cultural exchange between the United States and Europe after World War II, when American soft power influenced customs, leisure, and the film industry across the continent. In October 1975, Emperor Hirohito visited Disneyland in California, symbolizing post-war renewed ties between Japan and the United States, an important gesture for strengthening peaceful relations and political and economic cooperation. The identification of the Dalai Lama in 1937 cemented his importance as Tibet's spiritual and political leader, making him a central symbol of Tibetan resistance to growing Chinese influence, an issue that still fuels international debate. Discovered in 1974, the Terracotta Army was sculpted to accompany Qin Shi Huang after his death, showing the power and beliefs of the Qin dynasty, which unified China in 221 BC and deeply influenced the country's history and culture. In the 2nd century, when Emperor Hadrian ordered the rebuilding of the Pantheon, Rome was strengthening its rule and pushing notable architectural advances, reinforcing the legacy of Roman engineering and inspiring future generations in world architecture. At the height of European imperialism in 1910, British tourists explored the Great Sphinx in Egypt, symbolizing how foreign presence drove archaeological discoveries and strengthened political and economic interests in the region at that time. During British rule in India in 1903, moments like James Ricalton's photo record of the giants of Kashmir symbolize Western interest in local curiosities and foreshadow socio-political changes leading toward the country's independence. In 1916, the fishing vessel New England became covered in ice in British Columbia, showing how harsh early 20th century conditions shaped Canadian fishermen's routine and highlighting the challenges of the country's cold regions. In 1916 in the United States, a public display of military technology, including an airplane towed by truck, symbolized national mobilization amid global tensions, encouraging strategic advances before the country entered World War I. In 1916, the introduction of the Richardson tandem biplane seaplane on the Potomac River marked an important milestone for amphibious aviation because it enabled aircraft use on water and expanded both civilian and military possibilities. At the Port of Glasgow in 1952, exporting a steam locomotive marked British industrial strength in post-war global rebuilding, highlighting the United Kingdom's central role in transportation growth and the international economy. After World War II, especially starting in 1956, the Pyrenees mountain regions in France gained prominence through investment in infrastructure and tourism, becoming centers for leisure and winter sports in Western Europe. In the post-war period, on December 17, 1949, Santa Claus riding a motorcycle along busy Oxford Street symbolized London society's search for hope and the return of tradition during England's rebuilding. In post-war 1951, integrating television, radio, and a cocktail bar highlighted the beginning of consumer culture in the United States, marking a transformation of homes and promoting new patterns of leisure and family togetherness. In the early 1950s, inventions such as the air-conditioned lawnmower symbolized post-war optimism and the value placed on home comfort, paving the way for automation that would transform family daily life. In the late 19th century, the presence of European musicians such as Italian harpists on the streets in 1877 symbolized the impact of large immigration waves, a force that helped shape multicultural urban societies in the Americas. On May 25, 1858, Napoleon's veterans gathered for a photograph, highlighting the legacy of soldiers who fought in the Napoleonic Wars, decisive events that changed Europe's political and territorial order in the 19th century. During the Industrial Revolution in the 1890s, independent vendors faced strong competition and used creativity to stand out, like the seller who wore peanut shells on his clothing, a symbol of ingenuity in the era's informal trade. The rise of burlesque costumes in the 19th century, like Eliza Blesina's horsehead cap, illustrates a period when European theater aimed to shock and delight audiences, marking the modernization of performing arts and popular entertainment. During John F. Kennedy's presidency, events like the 1962 diplomatic crisis in Cuba reshaped international politics, while support for the space race positioned the United States as a leading player amid Cold War tensions. In the post-World War I period around 1919 near San Francisco, the rise of the mobile home concept responded to the need for adaptable housing, keeping up with growing urbanization and transforming how people lived in the United States. Under the authoritarian government in Italy in 1929, promoting traditional practices like hand-drying pasta represented a state effort to value local culture, strengthen national pride, and pursue economic self-sufficiency. During racial segregation in the United States in 1956, South Carolina's so-called juke joints became places of resistance and cultural affirmation, offering the Black community music, dance, and stronger social bonds. In the 1930s, Zeppelins marked progress in aeronautical engineering, especially before World War II, standing out as an innovative form of travel until tragedies like the 1937 Hindenburg disaster sped up their decline. During the 1960s, Walter Zapashny stood out as an animal trainer in the Soviet Union, a time when the circus was valued as an expression of national strength, contributing to state propaganda that praised the regime's typical courage and discipline. In 1944, Louise Albritton lived in a historical context dominated by World War II, a conflict that drove deep social change, including an expanded role for women and the beginning of a new post-war world order. The Wolseley Vickers, developed in 1926, symbolized the search for innovative solutions in the auto industry, with its hybrid drive, drawing military attention by offering off-road versatility and reflecting interwar technological advances. In 1933, during an expedition to Italy's Stromboli volcano, Arpad Kerner contributed significantly to advances in volcanology, improving understanding of eruptions and strengthening safety measures for researchers. Roosevelt Field Mall in Garden City became a symbol of Christmas 1982 in the United States, as it represented the rise of post-recession consumer spending, cementing the shopping mall as a pillar of urban life in modern American popular culture. A 1936 record of a motorcycle doing a wheelie signals the rise of stunt riding culture, highlighting how this style influenced sports and two-wheel entertainment throughout the 20th century. In early 20th century London, Punch and Judy shows, popular since around 1910, represented a street theater tradition central to British culture, showing the role of accessible arts in the era's shared city entertainment. The 1936 BMW Schneekrad symbolized a crucial technological step as Germany prepared for logistical challenges before World War II, serving as an example of efforts to create effective vehicles for harsh, cold terrain that would matter in future conflicts.